Mario Galaxy movie is directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic and has the voices of Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, and among others. And this story, it deals with the events that take place at the last Super Mario Bros. Movie, where you have Mario, Luigi, and Peach having to team up to be able to save Peach's sister, Princess Rosalina, from Bowser and Bowser Jr. in a race against time. And along the way, they get some help from like other classic Nintendo characters such as Star Fox McCloud. Now here's some backstory. Now this is one of those movies that I was actually really interested in seeing, especially after 2023's Super Mario Brothers movie, because growing up as a longtime Mario fan, I really have enjoyed the series for a long time. While I may not have been able to really been playing the games over the years because I've actually been out of Nintendo for a long time, but the classic Mario games from Mario 1, 2, and 3, and also Super Mario 64, those were always my go-to as a kid, and also Super Mario World especially. So there's been various other Mario games I played over the years, like Super Mario Kart. Even I think the last one I actually played was Paper Mario. But it's always been, after about the early 2000s when Super Mario Sunshine was coming out, I didn't really get to really fall into playing much of them because I was into more other consoles at the time. I was getting more into PlayStation and Xbox. So Nintendo was kind of off in my rear view after a long time. But I have been really wanting to get back into the series again and actually play the original series, and also some ones I never got to play before, including Super Mario Galaxy. And so when there was after 2023 came out with the first Super Mario Brothers movie, it really surprised me because of how really faithful it was to the actual games and how they were able to really capture the spirit of it, the beautiful animation and everything, and just and a very great simple premise of keeping it with the brothers with Mario having to rescue not only his brother in that movie but also having to rescue eventually Peach as well. And so everything was just so like very cute and fun just with the first one that I was actually really excited what they were going to do with the second one. And going into it, I didn't really know what to expect because at first I thought they were just going to follow like maybe some other ones before they were going to get to Super Mario Galaxy, because I kind of thought that they were going to play up to like in the games chronologically where they would go to like maybe Super Mario Brothers 2 or 3 or even 64 in some cases. But I was really surprised when they wanted to actually go directly into Super Mario Galaxy by setting up an even bigger world, so to speak. And so going from the trailers, I was actually interested in, especially seeing some other little Easter eggs and other characters that were actually from Nintendo's universes they've set up, especially with Star Fox. Because I actually was a big Star Fox fan myself growing up. I played the Star Fox 64 and even remember playing them in Super Smash Brothers and stuff. So my expectations were moderate, but I didn't want to overhype myself. And so after seeing the film, I can say that I enjoyed it. It was definitely fun, but it was having some things that lack compared to the first film on a more like cohesive writing level. But I still think it was very fun in its own right. And so, but to get my pros out of the way, I thought the cast in this were all phenomenal. It was great. I actually really do enjoy Chris Pratt and Charlie Day as Mario and Luigi. I thought their chemistry was fantastic together. Their funny banter they had back and forth, and the interactions they had with all the other characters throughout the film was just really great. And then I really do enjoy the way that in this one we're getting to see Mario trying to get involved with Princess Peach and how much he likes her and everything. And so they give a lot more like things to do for Mario and Luigi to work with, especially compared to the first film, because since in that film they were kind of separated for about half of it, it's good that they were able to actually work together as what you would expect from Mario and Luigi from the games. And so they were great. And of course you also got Anya Taylor-Joy doing great as Peach and everything. And then of course you got Jack Black, who actually stills the scenes like he did in the first one, although he is a lot more kind of not as prominent in this one compared to the first one as far as like some of the comedy throw in there. But for the most part, I still thought it worked. And even though I have really gotten myself really tired of seeing Jack Black in a lot of films, especially in his live action films of the years, I will admit that it's always good to see him at least come back as Bowser, because he really made the first one work and everything. And so he was phenomenal as usual. And then the other one, Benny Safdie, who plays as Bowser Jr., I thought was fun too. And then all the other new additions they add on as well, as Glenn Powell as Star Fox was tremendous. And it does actually makes you want to see exactly what they're setting up for in the future, because I don't know if this is going to be possible or not, but I like the fact that I like to think that we may either get a spin-off with possibly Star Fox in the future, or if they can probably get the rights, because it's a really big franchise, I would actually really love to see them do a Super Smash Bros. Movie. But doing so like that, you'd have to get involved with Pikachu, and that's owned by Warner Brothers, so you'd have to like really go through all the rights with all that and stuff. But Glen Powell I thought was really great as Star Fox, and just the way that he comes. And they even have this really cool backstory they set up with him, and that's in like the traditional animation and all that. That I thought was cool. And that's the other thing as well, is the animation in this is top notch as what you expect from like the first film. And I really do enjoy the world they go into when they go into space and go into this other realm, where you actually get like some other really stuff that they add on with like this whole like casino world they go into, where Princess Peach and Toad are trying to look for answers to where her sister is. And I just thought it was really fun how you got these little casino areas they go to and all that. That was nice. And then the action scenes, they're really, the movie is on a very fast pace, so it doesn't take no time to really have much break and everything. But I'll get into some of my cons with some of that later, because it does seem that like it runs a little too fast, where you don't really have much like time to really have a good balance of things, where you don't have really like a good like timeout for certain sequences. But there's also some really nice little Easter eggs that are from like the Mario series as well, like some of the musical cues, and even the way that they actually shift into seeing it into NES mode with like parts where you're doing like where they're jumping on the platforms and everything. I thought was really great, and it really just brought back that nostalgia vibe that I really do enjoy from playing those games. And then there's also a really great sequence that involves where it kind of reminds me of something out of Jurassic Park that I thought was not only funny, but it was actually really a nice Easter egg, especially since the movie was made by Universal. And so there's more and more that the movie really attaches onto, but it keeps that really fun, vibe that I really think that even though it kind of is meant for more like older audiences who grew up with Mario, I think it has a good wide appeal with reaching with a lot of younger audiences, especially for those that are just now playing the Mario series and everything. So I think it has a really good universal appeal with that. Now, if I had to get into some of my cons, I will have to say that what does hold the movie back is that they do feel like they put so much emphasis on building up the world more in this, that I think it would have been a better opportunity had they probably would have maybe saved Super Mario Galaxy for like a later entry. I say that in that there's more they could have really probably focused more on the Mushroom Kingdom with, because it's very sidelined to where you don't really get much of it. And trying to also add in new characters and not really give them much like focus, I think kind of really takes a lot out of it, especially even though, like I said earlier, I enjoy Star Fox, but it just also feels like these are characters that could have maybe built more gradually up, so to speak, to actually be in later entries. I say that because the movie is trying to basically do it kind of has the problem that I have with that movie Scoob that came out in 2020, where they were trying to set up more of a multiverse, like a multi franchise and stuff, instead of like really focusing as a Super Mario film, so to speak. Even though this is a Super Mario sequel, and there is some aspects that really take place more into developing more with Mario and Luigi and everything, it did feel like as far as the writing they lack, because we don't really get to see like them just as it's really more of an ensemble piece than it is more of the actual brothers themselves. You know what I mean? And so trying to do it as more of an ensemble is fun, but it really makes it feels like it should have came a lot more later. And so, and then on top of that, it does feel like there's certain things that the movie kind of lacks in certain jokes that aren't as funny as like in some scenes and everything. And so the humor can lack at times, but not to mention, it also feels like as much as I enjoy Brie Larson as Rosalina, there's more things they could have really established more with, especially in the beginning, because everything kind of goes fast to where it just sets the plot up and everything. And so, but with that being said, though, despite any of the issues that the movie does have, and with it trying to also be more of like giving the fans what they want, it does certainly suffer as far as what we wanted to see as making a cohesive story and everything. So I think that definitely does lack. And it's not going to really appeal to everybody, but I still found myself really engaged with it, and I still found myself having a lot of fun, and it's one I would definitely own. And so it makes you really excited to see what they do in the next one. And I know I forgot to mention this earlier, but I did also enjoy the addition of Yoshi in this. I thought he was not only very cute, but just like I said earlier with that Jurassic Park sequence, I thought it had a really good funny payoff with it. So overall, I did enjoy the film despite some issues I had compared to the first film, and with that, I'm going to give it a compelling grade on the Film Freaks meter. So for those of you who have also seen the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and also the first one, and also the games, let me know in the comments of what you thought about them. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next review. I'll see you later.